Hello, wonderful people. All right, today I have a video more inspired by the course. So, what I was just experimenting with was just opening up the course book and seeing where it takes me. And I opened it up and it went to lesson 16. I have no neutral thoughts. And I'd like to expand about that, my thoughts on that. Um, it can be okay from the egoic perspective, like lower, like it'd be like, oh, of course there's neutral thoughts, like, oh, the cat is black, or something like that. But um, I I think what it is saying um, that well, each thought can lead to other thoughts, and I think if you've had life experience, you see where this goes, right? Something quote unquote bad happens, like I don't know, you spill your coffee or someone's rude to you, and that can affect your vibe, and you continue it. You know that one thought when it snowballs, right? And if you have CPTSD like me, it could trigger maybe an emotional flashback, and that can get even worse. But um, also, what I wrote down: no private thoughts either. Um, and I know this might seem a lot for some people, but um, because it's well, it's how do I say this? It's about like not harboring ill will. Yes, okay, there you go. Because maybe I wouldn't act in the physical world like when I wouldn't act on any like negative thoughts. Not as, I mean, from maybe I did, but like, especially in my early like mid 20s. Mind you, I had all this spiritual stuff and I started the course, but I still would harbor a lot of resentment towards people. For example, to Mr. Pepper, um, the rude people in my private acting school. I really harbored a lot, and I would remember and ruminate about those negative memories, and it affect my vibe, and I would be in a bad mood, right? And right, I was crucifying myself, as the course says, right? Um, this is why, and this is what I think the lesson is teaching us: is there are no neutral thoughts because they can go to the more positive or to the negative polarity, and to be very mindful of where our mind is going. It's not about like policing your thoughts, more about gently guiding them, um, and even just saying like, "This is okay." Like, "Hey, I'm okay. It's okay." Even this is the thing. Like, um, for example, I mentioned recently like my card got eaten up by the ATM. First, there was a negative reaction, like, "Oh no, like could this happen?" It's like, it happened. It's okay. Right? And I know, saying okay is neutral, but actually, I would say it's more 51% positive. Right? It's on the more positive leaning, right? Just saying it's okay is acceptance, right? And we could apply this in the overall level, right? Just saying I'm okay. I'm okay right now. And you're okay right now. And that thought alone starts building momentum to more of the positive polarity, the positive in alignment thoughts. Um, Now, of course, this could be used against you, like, "Oh, I'm thinking too much negative thoughts." No. Getting towards neutrality, you know. But like when I say neutrality, I mean like the 51%. Like I am okay, I'm okay, because for me, I think a lot of you guys too, it's easier, um, because if something negative happens and we say, "Oh no," we try to reframe it right away to being positive. It could be more of a disservice than helping us. And I found it helpful on my journey just to say, "It's okay, it's okay," or even "It's not that bad," right? Um, it's about like climbing the emotional or the vibrational ladder, like what Abraham Hicks teaches us to, like if you're depressed, to get to anger, because anger is still like a step up, like wherever you are at, right? That's why it's saying, because that's still right, moving you in a more positive direction, even if it's someone like, "Oh, you're angry," that's negative. It's still, if you're, I'd rather be angry than depressed, you know. Um, what I wrote down. Thoughts are kaizen. Yes, this was also in this book I read about kaizen. It's, the Japanese philosophy of small steps. That even if you can't do something, you can even think about something. um, and I know it could be absurd to the egoic mind and saying, "What you're thinking? Thinking doesn't do anything." Of course, I'm not saying like, "Oh, just think about being successful," all that stuff. But even the thoughts, they they can give you inspiration, which can lead you to taking action. Everything starts from your thoughts, right? Everything we see here was a thought form, right? This table I'm looking at, these headphones, someone thought of it and made it, right? So there are no neutral thoughts because our thoughts do create reality. What the course says, right? We see it all around us, right? So, for example, what I wrote down, losing weight, right? When I said about my weight journey wasn't really the exercise component, it was the mental component, right? It was the thought forms, right? There was so much guilt and shame attached to the body, well, how big or how small my stomach is. And I could see why I would yo-yo all the time. And it's because of the thought forms. Also, like, oh yes, I would give myself an excuse to be extra harsh when I came to my body because I felt, oh, this is important for you, so why don't you be even more mega, angry? Also tolerating behavior from other people. Like I have a twin brother. Um, let's call him by his. Okay, because I'm trying not to use real names here. I feel like I want to keep it like fantasy reality. Yeah, whatever. Let's call him Zatkil. Zatkil and I are twins, and there was one point where we weighed the same. We were like 83 kilograms, which for me was I didn't like it. I was like, oh, I felt overweight because I guess BMI I was, and he made this noise like. It's so funny because he was the same weight too. I mean, it's funny now, but like it hurt. It was hurtful. And um, you know, I would tolerate so much mistreatment from the world. I remember even like going to boxing classes like a few years ago, and the trainer was like, um, do you have a stomach? It looks like you have a stomach. Don't worry. Once you'll be training, you'll lose it. And he wasn't he wasn't a skinny Linny either. It's like, excuse me, sir. You know, this is why I'm trying to work on my journey too. Is not to to judge, but like when people say stuff like that, oh, that sends me. That sends me. You know, even now, my friends, they're like, oh, Kahir, you were kind of chubby last year. It's good you lost weight. I'm like. I'm losing the okay, but see where was the thoughts, right? How about I was actually okay. I was okay last year. I was okay last year. I was okay because this is something I had a lot of trouble with. It's just abandoning my past self. Be like, oh, Kahir when he was 25, what an idiot. Like I'm glad I'm wiser now. Just like they're all still part of you, because you're looking at him now and I had talked about this during Healthy Gamer that I would, I would judge my past self so harshly, which also blocked healing because instead of listening to myself with compassion, saying like, man, like what I've been talking in these videos is seeing like my journey was a tough one mentally, in the physical world as well, but like mentally, the anguish I was dealing with was, it was extremely challenging, right? Having compassion, but like if you judge something like, oh, he's sitting and playing games all day, oh, what a loser, like where are you going to get healing from there, right? Even if you have this, so there are no neutral thoughts. Be like, hey, like coming from infinite compassion, be like, I see you've been playing a lot and you feel lost in life. Like what's going on? How can we help you? Right? Asking these kind of questions, right? Because they can go to the more positive polarity. How can I help you? What do you need? How can we bring healing to ourselves? These questions give the answers we want, right? What in the book is in the course it said that there are only true thoughts or false thoughts, and they'll create in their own likeness, right? Truth will create truth in their own likeness, those who are false make theirs, right? The false reality, right? Like, oh, I'm this loser boy that doesn't have any friends. He's going to be alone forever. Yeah, I did create that because I believed in it. I believed in those very harsh thought patterns, and it yeah, it's bringing a lot of emotion because that's tough. That's tough, and this is why I'm making these videos. I keep telling myself, yeah, I'm making these videos for you, for my past self, and for anyone who's dealing with these thought forms. Right? There are no neutral thoughts. Right? It's not about also judging those thoughts. Right? It's about, like I said, gently addressing them towards more positive neutrality. I'm okay, and then to more positive, reframing it into a more empowering narrative. Yes. I remember this is from like this book I read. It's about like from a Navy SEAL. I can't remember, but he said like, feed the courage wolf. Like what I said, there's two wolves inside of you. Well, except I like elephants more. Like there's two elephants. Yeah. Which one are you feeding? Like the positive one or the negative one? Is exactly love or fear, right? That's just basically the economy. Love or fear. Like love of yourself, like the one that really wants to build and be the best version of himself, or the false self. And when I say the best version of myself, this has been weaponized as well. Like, um, well, I did want to touch upon in a different video, but I'll do it now. Like how this world is built on guilt, shame, and the fear. Like I saw this Instagram ad where it's like, oh, this is the Tomek. He's a man child. He eats pizza. He has no girls, and all his friends from high school are like super successful in dating. You want to be like him? Buy our course. I'm laughing, but I know that stuff works because it gets to the pain, right? The guilt and shame when you believe something you need is outside of you, and like because I felt it. Of course, I felt that. I felt it, right? Because I believed in the false thought patterns, right? And when you realize like nothing outside is going to actually fulfill you, because what really fulfills us is everlasting, right? The everlasting love of God, of the Holy Spirit. Okay, what else did I write here? One step better than okay. Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. All right, when we had the 51% positive, and it opens the door to more positivity. Exactly. Oh, I want to just share one more story. Okay. Um, this is more in the trenches because when I was 25, 26, I had this teaching job, um, and I had a very, very attractive student. She was around my age, also like I think she was a student, and we really hit it off, like laughing a lot. And I asked her out on a date, and um, then like she didn't show up. Of course, I felt really bad. And like the next lessons, she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. Like um, uh, the pilot died." I don't know what she was telling was true. Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? But she could have texted me. But instead of, and I told my parents about this. I don't know if you guys, if you have like, is it normal to talk about like relationship stuff with your parents? I don't know. Okay, anyway, but I told Mama that, and she wasn't like, well, I said like more positive polarity, it was like, what's wrong with you? I think she didn't actually say this directly, but she told like Zatkil, my brother, is like Kahir's probably doing something wrong because he got stood up. Like, how about that girl showed me what kind of person she is by standing me up, right? That's the more empowering version, right? If someone's there's nothing wrong with you, right? Treat others the way you want to be treated. If you can't make it to the date, send a text, right? Like the people that stand people up, they just show like, oh, you're not worth my time. That's the empowering narrative. Now this is something I had to learn, right? Reframing it into the positive frame, right? The empowering frame, right? That's why there are no neutral thoughts, because it's like, oh, something's wrong with Kahir. He's bad with girls, or uh, you know, this is This girl is not meant for you. She stood you up. Don't worry. Don't worry, my son. You'll find the right girl. I believe in you. You know, that's more. Ah, man. Yeah, I know someone needs to hear it because I wish I heard it, man. All right. I wanted to make a little bit a shorter video, so I hope you guys enjoy this and take care.